Uh, Changing topics a little bit, since this auditorium is full of Indian expats, so one of the questions that we wanted to ask is, how do you recommend that the Indian youth here in the US, start thinking about contributing back to India while they are living their American dream? Because these two pursuits are very diverse and they might not coincide.
These two nations that you're mentioning, in many ways, in culture, in geography, in economics, are at two different spheres altogether. One is a new nation, hardly 200 years old, little more than 200 years. Existence of United States of America may be 200 years old since independence, but really it is only 100 years or 120 years where really in a focused way they started building this nation. When you talk about India, for us, recent times means 5,000 years. In India, people in their conversations, they say, you know what happened recently in our history? They're talking about 2,000–3,000 years. So these are completely two different ways of looking at it. There is immense value to both, immense. Because of the newness of their existence, the American people, I'm not talking today, when they came here and they trying to figure out in a new land what to do, they did whatever was needed for their given situation, for them to go on. Where individual aspiration was the main thing. Nobody thought of a nation when they came here. They were only thinking of their own ranch or whatever they call it, a piece of land. They thought they have broken away from the nation of being England or Scotland or Ireland or maybe even Germany and France and wherever they came from. But largely these three nations probably to begin with. They really thought they have broken away from the bondage of nationhood. That's what the debate is still going on about the right to bear arms, because people did not think they're going to make one more nation which is so tight like England of that time. They thought they're just going to live here free. But slowly, for practical reasons, one understands, without organization, individual enterprise slowly will work against each other. If we don't have a war, we will have a family feud. Family feuds in this country were like wars, isn't it? It went on and on for generations. Because it is the same thing. Somewhere you have to fix the boundary. Still human beings have not come to a place where in this world we can simply live without a boundary. We've not come to that place. At least those who claim they're educated, at least in your minds and hearts, you must remove the boundaries. Geographically, still there are boundaries, we cannot remove those boundaries. If you suddenly remove those boundaries, there will be a total upheaval of things. So having said that, India as a land is like running into thousands of years, which gives people a sense of timeless existence, where our way of doing things have always been never about individual aspiration, simply what is inclusive and happening, because always we remember, you know, in many Indian homes, this is very hard for American people to understand. In Indian homes, many of them have kept records of 60, 70 generations of people, their names. My grandfather's name, 60 generations ago, 70 generations ago, they got names written down in the books. So, their sense of existence is very different, which is changing dramatically now. As a part of this Youth and Truth, I've been going to all these universities. Recently, when I was in Delhi 5 days ago, they were asking me, Sadhguru, when you were a youth, how things were, what were you thinking, and today, how the youth are, what do you think is the difference? I said, one stark difference I see is, we were always thinking of a revolution. How to change this country, how to do this, how to do that. Today you go into the university, everybody is only talking about individual aspiration. Nobody is talking about the larger context of what it is. This is a consequence of a certain level of economic development. When the country was at a certain status of development, when I say certain status of development, in 1947, when the British left India, the average life expectancy of an Indian was 28 years. Today, it is 69.7 years or nearly 70 years. This is a huge change. When average life expectancy was 28 years, naturally, we were thinking revolution, how to change this? Something needs to happen dramatic, otherwise it's not going to change. But today, the present youth are thinking of individual aspiration. So people look at this as, oh, is this not a bad thing? I said, no, it's a very good thing. Because if all individuals in a country are doing well, the damn country is doing well, isn't it? Hello? So, these are two different approaches. What America thought of individual enterprise and, individual aspiration, probably in 50s and 60s, post-World War II, now India is beginning to think in early 21st century. This is a natural consequence. This is one thing. This is one thing which will be troublesome for nations which develop in a big way without individual aspirations being accommodated. So nations which developed rapidly, in a short span of time, using a stick works very well when people are poor. The moment they do well, if you use a stick, they will turn back and bite you. Yes, this is the nature of a human being. When he is desperate, he understands a stick will drive all of us in one direction and something will happen. If you all scramble in one direction, something good will happen to me also. But once that scramble is over, then I'm thinking of my own individual aspiration. Now the trouble comes. That trouble is coming wherever development happened too rapidly because of a forceful way of doing things. This is the good thing about India. Professor Krishnan said that it's a chaos. Well, it is a chaos only for an external viewer who doesn't understand our existence. We would be we would get thoroughly bored with too much order. We like that. We're driving on the street, suddenly an elephant comes. Really, we like that. If suppose an elephant came on an American interstate, oh, the whole nation will scream, how can this happen? An elephant came on the street. We are very excited, we'll pull out our cell phones, take pictures and share with everybody. I saw an elephant on the road today, all right? So see, there are two kinds of orders. You can have a manicured garden and it looks like spick and span, everything is the way you want it. And you can have a forest where nothing seems to be in order. But if you take away your hand off the manicured garden for just 3 months, it will be nonsense. But forest, for 1,000,000 years it's existed, obviously it's a better order. It is just that to live in the forest, you need different kinds of skills. Yes. Well, once in a way you get eaten by a tiger, but you travel all the way to Africa or India to see a lion or a tiger. So when you got eaten, you did not enjoy the wildlife, but you saw it for sure.